Good morning, all of you. After my first lecture, Introduction to Cancer, today I will be giving you the introduction to radiation therapy and chemotherapy. Actually, this will be the introduction to the various modalities of cancer treatment. I will be covering myself, Dr. Vanna Jain, Professor and Head Department of Radiation Oncology, Rural Medical College, PIMS, Loni. In my first lecture, Introduction to Cancer, I gave you an overview about the various cancers. So the various sites which are involved by the cancer, various types of cancers, this is covered in my first lecture. And then the broad classification based on the histopathological or the tissue types, that also I covered. Now the classification based on the grades, which is important while treating a patient, and then again the staging. So in my today's lecture I will be giving the various treatment modalities which are given to a cancer patients, and again they are very important from your point of view, because if you know what treatment has been received by the patient, so what care you are required to take when the patient visits to the physiotherapy college or visits you. Here if we see the cancer of various sites, so the common malignancies which are reported for treatment at our center, so the commonest is head and neck cancer, which accounts for around 28.8%. Next comes the cancer cervix, which is 18%. Next comes the cancer breast, which is 15.2%. Next is the gastrointestinal malignancies and the others. So here the head and neck cancer and the cancer cervix, both of these cancers, they are preventable, because as I already narrated to you, head and neck cancer and cancer cervix, GI malignancies, all of these malignancies, they are linked with the risk factors which are in the hands of an individual. So the various addictions, dietary habits, and the personal hygiene, all those are linked with these cancers. The incidence of cancer at various sites, this will vary all over the country, and there will be more changes if you will see the world statistics. But at our center, these are the malignancies which are reported. Now you have a patient which has been diagnosed with the cancer. So what next? So diagnosis is confirmed that this patient is having cancer tongue or the cancer skin or the cancer lung or the cancer cervix. Next is the staging part, because unless you will stage the patient, the treatment cannot be decided. It should be the single modality of treatment or the combination of various modalities of treatment. So how you will stage a cancer patient? So importantly, what staging system which is used is the TNM staging. All of you must have heard about the TNM staging. So T stands for tumor size. So for various sites of cancer, the T size as per the staging is different, because some tumors they say T1 is less than 2 centimeters. Some tumors they will say T size is depending upon the depth of invasion. So this is like, and some T size is not considered, but only the depth of invasion is considered for T staging. So that is the tumor size which is important. So TNM staging we see T1, T2, T3, T4. Again in classification, T1 is divided into in some at some sites T1A, T1B, and T1C also. So this is like in more detail the T staging is done. Next comes if the localized tumor has spread to the draining lymph nodes. So if the lymph node involvement is there, so this will be narrated as N1, N2, N3, or it could be N0 if no lymph node involvement is there. And then the next comes the distant metastasis. It means the tumor has spread to the distant organs. So this is like if there is no spread, then this is M0, and if spread is there, this is M1. Now the classification is like more broader classifications are there. So in that they say M1 A, M1 B. It's like more classifications are there. If we see the cancers which are reported at our center, most of the patients, they are reporting in stage 3 and 4. This is just to give an idea to you people that the diagnosis is in most of the patients this is delayed because of so many reasons. But for the cancer, prognosis is always better if we diagnose the cancer in stage 1. But the very few patients, they are diagnosed in stage 1. Here if we see the various modalities of cancer treatment, so the surgery, which is all of you will be knowing, which plays a very important role in the diagnosis as well as in the treatment of various cancers. So surgeries for the early stage cancer, cervix, cancer breast, head and neck cancer, skin malignancies, etc. So many. So importantly malignant melanoma, then so many, there is to list so many cancers where surgery is the main step of treatment. Next comes the chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is again with the various drugs, the cancer treatment is done. So this is very effective. Only chemotherapy is used, or chemotherapy is used along with radiation. Chemotherapy is used before surgery. Chemotherapy is used before radiation also. And this is in various forms, tablet, capsule, injections. The next comes importantly the radiotherapy, which is used mainly for the treatment of malignancies, and almost all type of malignancies, they can be treated with the radical intent or with the palliative intent by the radiation treatment. Next comes the hormonal therapy. So the hormone dependent cancers, mainly the cancer breast and the prostate, here we use the hormones for the treatment of cancer. So again, the diagnosis at early stage is very important, because if you diagnose the patient at stage 1, then the single modality of treatment, either surgery or radiation, this gives very good results. So the control is possible with single modality of treatment. This could be chemotherapy also. If we diagnose the patient in advanced stages, then the single modality of treatment is insufficient. So here for advanced stages, radiotherapy alone, because the surgery is not possible, or chemotherapy alone is not sufficient. So the radiotherapy alone can be tried, or this is combined with the chemotherapy. So chemoradiation, that is the mainstay of treatment. Then for palliation, we can think of chemotherapy as well as radiation. Next is the radiotherapy is alone can be given to all stages of the disease. So as I told you before also, the radiation for radical intent and then radiation for palliation. So the radiation for palliation for stage 4 diseases, this is given. And for palliation for pain relief and all, this we will go in detail next slides. So radiation therapy or the radiotherapy treatment. So what is radiotherapy? Radiotherapy is defined as the treatment by ionizing radiation, mainly of malignant diseases. So this is a form of energy. Ionizing radiation is the form of energy which is used for treatment of various malignancies. So to give the radiotherapy treatment, we have to have some radiation generating equipment. So the radiation generating equipment which gives the radiation treatment, they are the teletherapy unit or the brachytherapy unit. So in teletherapy unit, the treatment is delivered from a distance. So these units, they are the telecobalt unit. Here the radiation source is the cobalt 60 and the linear accelerator. Here the radiation source is instantly the radiation is produced from the electron bombardment to the tungsten plate and the photons are generated. So here this is the telecobalt unit. Patient is lying down on the couch and the treatment field is set up here. Here this is the linear accelerator unit. Again the patient is on the couch and the fields, they are set up. So this is important to remember. The radiotherapy is for radical cancer treatment or for palliation for various cancers. So radical radiotherapy is used for various cancers. This is difficult to enumerate all sites, but importantly because the commonest malignancy which is reported is head and neck. So the various head and neck cancers where the radiotherapy is used is lip, cheek, oral cavity, nasopharynx, hypopharynx, larynx. Then the genitourinary. So next in the commonest malignancy is the cancer cervix. So here the radiotherapy is used, carcinoma endometrium and vagina. Then for the males, if we see this is not common, but this is for the here also for CA penis, testis, urinary bladder, we use radiation for the treatment. We use radiation for the treatment of cancer lung and carcinoma esophagus. Various brain tumors, they are also treated by radiation. Retinoblastoma, again radiation is used. For skin malignancy, we use radiation. We use radiation for lymphoma. There is a long list for various cancers which I cannot cover here, but it's like you just think of the malignancy and the radiation can be used. Next use of radiation is for palliation. So what do you understand with the palliation? In palliation, we give the treatment for the symptom relief of the patient because the patient is in very advanced stage and we don't want the patient into that last stage with the various terminal symptoms. So just to give some relief to the patient, we use radiation. So palliative radiation for bone metastatic sites because they are very painful, and then palliative radiation to the brain metastasis because multiple lesions are there over the brain. This gives lot of pressure symptoms. Then for the hemostatic dose, if the patient is bleeding like from the carcinoma cervix or from the urinary bladder, sometimes for the cancer lung also we give hemostatic radiation. Again, pain relief is for the bone metastasis. Then the advanced stage patients with poor GC, where other modalities of treatment cannot be used, we can think of giving palliative radiation. Then in some cases where the metastasis to supraclavicular lymph nodes are there, and this is giving the pressure symptoms to the brachial plexus or the nerve roots or the vessels. So here we can give the palliative radiation to the lymph nodes and patient can be relieved with the pressure symptoms. So external beam radiotherapy or the teletherapy. External beam radiotherapy treatment is carried out mainly with the equipments which generate the X-rays, electrons, or the gamma rays. So the X-rays and electrons, they are produced by the X-ray machines or the superficial or ortho voltage units and the linear accelerator. So with the superficial and ortho voltage X-rays and the electrons, we give superficial tumor, we treat superficial tumors or the skin tumors. Then the teletherapy units, the radiation source is cobalt-60, and this is used for various types of cancer treatment. And linear accelerator for photon beam is used again for various types of cancer treatment, and the various energies option is also there, and various treatment planning systems, they are also encoded in this linear accelerator. There is newer generation units are also there for radiation treatment. They are the proton beam therapy radiation unit, they are also available. So here you can see the telecobalt unit, where the cobalt 60 is used as a radiation source for the treatment. On the couch, patient is there. This is the gantry where the source is lying down and the patient is set for the radiation treatment. This is the linear accelerator unit. Again, the table is there and the gantry for the radiation generation. Here in the center, you can see a patient of head and neck cancer with the markings. Most probably this is of CA larynx patient. So these are the markings and this is the center. One cannot deliver the radiation treatment in a short time because this has very toxic effects. So this is usually given in a fractionation schedule. So the conventional fractionation schedule which is used, conventional means the commonly used fractionation schedule for radical treatment, that is usually over 5 to 7 weeks time. So if we see the radiation unit which is used for the radiation treatment, that is the gray and centigrade. So 100 centigrade is equivalent to 1 gray, and the usual dose for the patients is 50 gray, and the fractionation schedule is 2 gray per fraction. So radical radiotherapy for 25 to 35 fractions. So how much dose we will deliver? 50 gray to 70 gray, just a double. Or if we are using 1.8 gray per fraction, then this will come to even more than 35 fractions. And the usual schedule is 5 fractions per week. So how many weeks? For 25 fractions, 5 weeks, because 5 fractions per week, and for 35 fractions, 7 weeks. So just imagine, if you, as soon as you will tell a patient that the patient needs radiation treatment, so how much time that patient needs to spend for radiation treatment? So that is more than a month. So approx 1.5 to 2 months time is required to complete the radiation treatment for the radical radiation therapy. But for palliation, we usually want to give the symptom relief. So what will happen? We want to finish the treatment as soon as possible, and you know that the life expectancy of the patient is not much. So you just give the radiation which is sufficient for the patient life which is there. So the less fractions are given, so the patient need not to stay for a long time. So 1 to 10 fraction means, like palliative radiation can be given in single fraction, 4 fraction, 5 fraction or 10 fraction. So that is the maximum time which is required is 2 weeks. So it's like if you start on Monday, so Monday to Friday 5 fractions are over, then again next Monday to Friday. So 12 days time is required if we want to give 10 fraction as a palliative radiotherapy to a patient. Here you can see a patient of carcinoma breast which has been operated. Here the scar is very well seen. Again, for the conventional radiotherapy treatment, we have put the markings here over the surface. Here also you can see the markings, and then the tangential fields are used. So here we are giving the radiation from this side and that side, the whole lung and the part of the heart. We try to save those structures as well as the spinal cord, which you can see here. And the patient is lying down over the breastboard. So all those demonstrations, when you will visit the department for your practical purpose, I will give you, but this is just for you to know about this. After the teletherapy, just for your you should know about the brachytherapy. So in brachytherapy, the radiation treatment is given from inside body tissue, cavity or lumen. Here the radiation source or the radiation treatment is delivered from very close. And in teletherapy you have seen the radiation treatment is given from a distance. So you have seen the gantry, which is from a distance giving the radiation treatment. But here the radiation treatment source, this will go inside the body tissue and then treat the cancer. So various types of brachytherapy as per the sites are intracavitary brachytherapy. So inside the body cavity. So think of the body cavity, that is the uterus and the cervix. Commonly used treatment. This is the intracavitary radiotherapy. Then the intraluminal brachytherapy. So inside the lumen, from inside the lumen, importantly. So what lumen? Just think of, that is the esophagus, rectum and sometimes the bronchus. Endobronchial, we say endobronchial also for bronchus. Then the interstitial. Suppose there is no lumen, no cavity, only the tissue is there. So what do? You put so many needles and then give the brachytherapy treatment. So that is called the interstitial brachytherapy. But if you want to give only at the surface, that is the or over the skin or at the mucosal surface, you don't want radiation to a more depth, then you can use the surface mold. You prepare the mold of that particular surface and the shape and plan your brachytherapy treatment. So here you can see a patient which is with the Ryle's tube and the radiation is given for the carcinoma esophagus. Here for the cancer cervix, the patient is for brachytherapy treatment. So here for the brachytherapy treatment, the commonly used brachytherapy treatment in the department is intracavitary brachytherapy. Here we give radiation from inside the body to the uterus and the cervix. So firstly we keep the applicator inside the uterus and the vagina, and then the treatment planning is done, and then the radiation treatment is delivered to this area where the cancer is there. So here you can see the tandem and the ovoids, and here again in the picture the tandem and ovoids, these are the applicators which are kept, and radiation treatment is delivered from inside. These are the vaginal cylinders for the post-op patients, to boost the vault region as well as the upper vagina. So they are of different size and they are kept inside the vagina, and the radiation treatment is delivered once the planning is done. Here you can see the surface mold which is made for the tumor over the hard palate. So there is ulcer over the hard palate and the tube is kept and the radiation treatment is delivered because the tumor was superficial. Then here you can see the template, perineal template, again for the radiation treatment of the pelvic region tumor. So for the cervix, vagina, prostate, we can use this template. This is the type of the interstitial brachytherapy treatment. Here for the soft tissue cancers and for the cancer breast, you can see the interstitial brachytherapy. So this involves the placing of applicators with the tissue, within the tissue, and after computerized planning, treatment is delivered. So many tubes has been put at the tumor site, and then the planning is done and radiation treatment is delivered. Here, this is in the buttock region. Then the so many tubes they are placed, and one can plan the radiation treatment. So whenever you give any treatment, this is given to the localized structure, but there are normal structures which are present surrounding that tumor. So those normal structures which come across in the field of radiation, because we want to kill the cancer cells or the cancer tissue, but the normal structures they are also present or they come across in the radiation field. So all those normal structures as well as the cancer structures, they come across with the trauma of radiation. So what will happen because of that trauma? There are reactions, body reactions, which a patient has to face, because you want to, one side you want to control the cancer, the other side you have to be with the adverse reactions. So the acute radiation reactions which are seen over the mucosal surfaces or at the skin. So, and the deeper structures also, and sometimes the generalized radiation sickness. This is also faced by the patient during the radiation treatment. So if this depends on the site, mainly at the site. If you are giving radiation to the pelvis, then the patient will have the localized symptoms of frequency of micturition or more GI symptoms in the form of enteritis, diarrhea, abdominal cramps, and the frequent they have to go for passing stool. Then the nausea and vomiting. These are all the GI symptoms if the radiation treatment is given to the abdomen or the pelvic region. Then the skin reactions. This is localized to the radiation field area. So this starts from the redness to the wet desquamation. So here you can see the skin reactions which is of grade 2 and 3. So it's like at some places you can see the wet desquamation, means like the there you can see the grade 3 reaction, and here just the dry desquamation, only the superficial layer of the skin is peeled off at the radiation site. So this is head and neck cancer patient. And if the same way this is of pelvis, then you will see in the inguinal region, and sometimes for the breast you will see in the axilla. The similar reactions this can be seen in the form of mucositis. So here you can see, because this area is in the same patient, this area is inside the radiation field, because the patient is of the buccal mucosa. So the lips, then the neck region, everything is covered in the radiation field. So you can see the mucositis, which is again of grade 2, grade 3. Then again the radiation reaction over the tongue, then the hard palate, all those regions they are with the radiation side effects. Then these are the acute reactions which are seen at the time of the treatment, and usually you will come across or you will see the radiation reaction which will start in the second week of radiation. This peaks in the third and fourth week, and then this will remain the same till the patient finishes the radiation treatment, and these reactions gradually they will set down after the treatment is completed over the 4 to 6 weeks time. Rarely the patient will require more than 6 weeks time for the healing of these acute reactions. And for the late reactions, because the radiation damage has been occurred to the other structures also. So the late reactions, they are seen in different manner. So you will see the chronic radiation enteritis, that is for the if the radiation is delivered to the in the abdominal sides or the pelvic region. Then the vaginal fibrosis, because this is mainly seen with the supporting structures. So that is supporting structure in the form of fibroblast. So fibrosis is there. Then radiation cystitis, then the radiation proctitis. So then all those side effects which is seen late after completion of radiation. Subcutaneous fibrosis in the form of stiffness here or in the suprapubic region, where you will see the thickness of the suprapubic region, and sometimes some patients, they are with the more late reactions, and then they will require a lot of attention. Then the lumen, you can see the urethral stenosis. Then esophageal, in esophagus also we'll see the stenosis again as a late toxicity, and because of this hydronephrosis and hydroureter. So lot many things are to be there, but you need not to go into the detail of that. Surgery being the one of the important modality of cancer treatment, because for the diagnosis, for staging, and for treatment of various cancers, surgery is mandatory. But the surgery is done in various departments. Suppose a patient goes to surgery department first, then the diagnostic workup is done. Sometimes the surgery is done and staging workup is also done. And suppose a patient goes to the gynec department with the bleeding PV, then the diagnostic workup is done, and as per the staging, surgery, or the patient is further referred for the radiation treatment. Similarly, if the patient is of head and neck cancer, then this reports to the ENT surgeon first, or in the dental department. Again, the diagnostic workup plus minus surgery and staging is done there. And then the patient is referred for further treatment. Then the same way for the orthopedic surgeon and some other places like ophthalmology department, where the surgery is done for various reasons. So the diagnostic, staging, and treatment for some cancers, surgery is the only modality of treatment. And with after the surgery, sometimes there is requirement for the chemotherapy as well as radiation, sometimes both. So if we see the surgery, this is done for prophylaxis. So removal of at-risk tissue or the organ prior to the development of cancer. When there is risk of developing cancer, so that tissue is removed for the prophylaxis, that is before the cancer will develop. So usually this is in the breast cancer patients. Then the removal of body parts. So this is like there is tumor in the kidney. So usually that almost the whole kidney is removed, or partially the nephrectomy is done. Similarly, if the bladder cancer, urinary bladder cancer is there, then either the partial removal of the urinary bladder or the complete removal of the urinary bladder is done. So similarly, the organs, they are removed with the margin, with a safe margin, and with the, if required, the lymph nodes, they are also removed. Means there are so many examples like testicular tumors, ovaries, then in the esophagus, then the in the lesion over the tongue and all. Then the debulking surgery. Here what will happen, the complete tumor removal is not possible. But if we remove around 60%, 80%, 90% of the tumor, then this is called the debulking surgeries. So mainly with the brain tumors and the ovarian tumors, the debulking surgery is done, and the remaining tumor which is there or which is adherent to the tissue, that tumor is taken care with the adjuvant treatment. Then the reconstruction or the rehabilitation surgeries. So for the in the breast cancer, the breast implants they are placed. Then for the head and neck cancer, wattle deformity has been done. Again the reconstruction surgeries they are done. Again similarly the bone tumors for the limb, then again the reconstruction surgeries if possible they are done. Then the palliative surgery. This is again to improve the quality of life. So the part of the tumor is removed because this is bleeding or there is lot of infection or ulcer or some gangrene is there or severe pain is there. So then all those conditions as per the decision of the surgeon, the palliative surgeries they are done. So surgery plays an important role for almost all type of cancers, and then you being the physiotherapy department students, you should know all those surgeries, and then you play a very important role in the post surgical various um, physiotherapy related issues. So you always take care for all those things. Next modality of cancer treatment is chemotherapy. So the word chemotherapy is a general term for treatment of that use chemical agents or the drugs to kill cancer cells. Many different kinds of drugs are used either alone or in combination to treat different cancers. So many cancers they are taken care with the help of the chemotherapy, and chemotherapy is given alone or this is given in combination with the radiation treatment. Chemotherapy is an important modality of cancer treatment. Here again, the goal of the chemotherapy is importantly to cure the disease. So where only the chemotherapy agents they are used for the cancer treatment and with the intention of complete cure. So the tumor or the cancer disappears and this will not return. So 100% cure. Then the control. So chemotherapy drugs they are used to control the cancer. So they stop the cancer cell growth, but 100% cure may or may not be possible. So the spread can be prevented and the disease can be controlled to some extent. Next comes the palliation. So where the cure and control both is not possible because the disease has gone to that stage or the stage 4 or in a metastatic stage. So where this is not possible, but then the goal is to relieve the symptoms, or to stop the disease to some extent so that the patient will be relieved with the symptoms to for few weeks or for months, and the quality of life can be improved. So these are the goals of the chemotherapy. So here we will see the indications for chemotherapy. So in my previous lecture I gave you introduction about the blood malignancies or the liquid malignancies and the lymphomas. They are the generalized malignancies. They are not local to one lymph node or local to one area of the blood. So these generalized lymph nodes, they will require their treatment in the form of chemotherapy. So the chemotherapy, as this is given through the intravenous route mainly, so they play an important role, or for the leukemias that is the only modality for the treatment. For lymphomas again chemotherapy is the important modality. Next, for some patients we give radiation for the residual lymph nodes and sometimes for the palliation also. Here for the testicular carcinoma, So these carcinomas, they are the localized carcinomas in the testis if this is in the early stage. So surgery plays an important role, but as per the staging, chemotherapy is required. In some cases, we have to give or we have to plan the cases for the radiation also. Here for the choriocarcinoma, again highly chemosensitive tumor which is in the uterus. Then the small cell lung carcinoma, again highly chemosensitive tumor in the lung. Then the rhabdomyosarcoma, though this is sarcoma, but this sarcoma is highly chemosensitive. So here we give chemotherapy as the main modality of treatment. Next is the neuroblastoma, Wilms tumor. Then the carcinoma breast and carcinoma ovary. Here again the combined modality of treatment plays an important role. For palliation in various cancers, the chemotherapy plays an important role. In combination with radiation, concurrent chemoradiation, this is. Chemotherapy plays an important role. Then for the recurrent or advanced cancers, again for the palliation we give chemotherapy. So overall the chemotherapy plays an important role in various malignancies treatment and in various forms. So this is curative for radical purpose, in combination also, and for the palliation. Here we will see various methods of giving chemotherapy. So the commonest mode of giving chemotherapy is intravenous route. So here through the vein, the drugs they are injected. So here you will place the intracath properly in a vein, and the drugs they are given directly or with the proper dilution in the selected fluid like normal saline or dextrose 5% or DNS. Then next is the intramuscular route. So some of the chemotherapies they are given intramuscularly. So usually the methotrexate is given. Then next is the intraperitoneal. So if for the abdominal malignancies, some of the chemotherapies they are given in the abdominal cavity, that is the intraperitoneal route. Then the intracavitary. So think of the body cavities. So that is injected inside the body cavities. So what are the body cavities? Could be in the pleural cavity. So the intrapleural. Then the subcutaneous. Some of the drugs they are injected in the subcutaneous plane so that they are released slowly. Then the oral route. That is as the other medications are given the same way, some of the chemotherapy drugs they are available in the form of oral capsules or tablets. So the importantly temozolomide, which is the drug given for the brain tumors, and capsule capecitabine, which is given for the GI malignancy, that is the form of the 5-fluorouracil. So this way the chemotherapy drugs they are given. Then here the various side effects of the chemotherapy. So whenever you give any therapy for the cancer treatment, this gives trauma to the whole body because the normal structures they come across for the in between the radiation treatment and in chemotherapy, the whole body is affected because the drugs they are absorbed in they are circulated actually in the whole body through the blood. If that chemotherapy drugs given orally, then the drug is absorbed through the GI system and then this enters into the blood. And if the drugs they are given through the IV route, then this directly enters into the blood. And if the drugs they are given intramuscularly, subcutaneously or intraperitoneally, again the drugs they are absorbed but not so rapidly. So the once the drug is absorbed and this comes into the blood circulation, then what will happen? Because your cancer cells they are limited to the breast they are limited to the head and neck region, or they are limited to the brain area, lung, or that particular cancer site. But through the blood, the chemotherapy drugs, they circulate all over body from top to bottom. So you will see the side effects from top to bottom. So importantly, the side effects for the chemotherapy which you will remember, that is the hair loss, and everyone is worried about their hairs. So hair loss, but this hair loss, this is not permanent, because once you will withdraw the chemotherapy or the cycles they are completed, within 3 to 6 month time the hairs they regrow. The normal growth will be there, sometimes even better growth. Next is in the generalized symptoms only, side effects, nausea and vomiting. Again, because the gastrointestinal mucosa, that the cells they divide rapidly, so all the rapidly dividing cells they are affected more. So then this is the GI system is affected too much, so nausea and vomiting. Then the infection, this is because of the marrow involvement, because whenever you give chemotherapy there is marrow suppression. Marrow suppression means the WBC counts they go down, then the hemoglobin that also goes down. Again, for all that, the chemotherapy drugs they are responsible, and whenever the immunity goes down, the chances of infection is more. And fatigue, diarrhea, again with the GI symptoms. Then the nerve pain, muscle pain, again generalized things, because this is again as a side effect, and the weakness. Then the ulcers in the mouth, again because the GI mucosa is involved, then the same way the oral cavity mucosa or the oropharyngeal mucosa, this is also involved. Then there could be temporary loss of the menstrual period, usually seen in carcinoma breast patients with the chemotherapy in the premenopausal ladies. Then decrease in red blood cells or white blood cells, as I told you here with the infection. This is because of the marrow suppression. So low WBC count. Then the early menopause or loss of fertility. Sometimes there is permanent damage to the ovaries. Then the weight gain, again because of the hormonal changes. Then some of the drugs they are cardiotoxic, so there could be the heart disorder. Rarely someone will come across with the leukemia or the blood malignancy following chemotherapy treatment. There are sexual dysfunctions, they are also reported. Then the urinary incontinence and some memory loss or some CNS symptoms could be there. This is because of the psychological and emotional pressure on the cancer patients. And one more thing which is to be remembered by you, chemotherapy is not like only once you give the chemotherapy drugs and this is over. So chemotherapy drugs, they are given at a particular interval for 4 to 6 month time. So there are weekly chemotherapy schedules in which every week, suppose Monday if we are giving the chemotherapy to that particular patient, next Monday again the chemotherapy is to be given. Then 3 weekly chemotherapy. So here, so day 1 on 1st, then the 3rd week will be on 21st. So every 3 weeks patient will be given the chemotherapy. Then there could be day 1, day 8, day 15, and again there will be gap of 15 days. So day 28 the next cycle will start. Sometimes this is just day 1, day 15, and then the next cycle will be on day 1. So that way the whole cycle will complete in 21 days or 28 days, or this is not only one cycle, usually 4 to 6 cycle. So how much time a patient will be given the chemotherapy? This will be for 4 to 6 months if this is given without any break. But if the patient has more side effects, then what will happen? We have to give the breaks in between. So because of those breaks, again the overall chemotherapy cycle will be more. Cycle time will be more. So this could go up to 5 to 6 months. So that is just for your knowledge that this goes for the months. And for leukemia patient, this goes for more than a year because initially they give very high dose chemotherapy, then there is again a few cycles of chemotherapy which are of intermediate dose, and then there is maintenance chemotherapy doses which goes for a year time. So this is like the chemotherapy depending upon the cancer, and then this is used alone or this is given in combination with radiation. The protocol this differs, and the combination or single drug, everything that is decided and then given. So after seeing all the three important modalities of cancer treatment which plays a very important role in the treatment of cancer, that is radiation therapy, surgery and chemotherapy. Hormonal treatment is also given for carcinoma breast and prostate. Then immunotherapy is there, targeted therapy is there. These are the new therapies which are in use. So after that, I think everyone should know the warning signs of the cancer. So to utilize the 7 warning signals, because this should be known to everyone, that is the general public, and you being the healthcare workers and the physiotherapy students and the future renowned physiotherapist, you should know all those warning signals. So that is the caution. So C of the caution is change in bowel and bladder habits. So that gives you an indication for GI malignancy as well as bladder malignancy. A of the caution is a sore that does not heal. If an ulcer which is for more than 3 weeks and not healing, that gives an alarm. U is the unusual bleeding. So any unusual bleeding through the vagina or through the rectum or through the cuff, so that gives an alarm. Next is the T. So thickening or lump in the breast. So one should be alert for any thickening over the skin or any lump in the breast. I. Again indigestion. This gives a signal for the GI malignancy. So chronic indigestion, that is not good for the health. O. O is for the obvious change in the wart. Again, this is important because this is the indication for malignant melanoma or other skin cancers. Then N. N is the nagging cough or the hoarseness of voice. So here what will happen? There is chronic persistent cough which is important, that is to be diagnosed. Or there is change in voice that gives you a signal that your larynx is not good. So you should go for the investigation. So just for your knowledge, and one should always remember all these 7 important warning signals. So lastly, why do all healthcare givers need to know about the cancer? This is not only the cancer, because if you know about the patient history, or if you know about the patient background, or if you know about the past history of the patient, that always helps for the care which you are going to give to the patient. So this is like, if you know that this patient is suffering from cancer, it means the patient is having lot of other issues also. So those issues could be the psychological pressure, those issues could be the poor family backup, or those issues could be they need lot of support from your side. So suppose from cancer department, if we refer a patient to your department without saying that this patient is suffering from this type of malignancy, that is, again, sometimes this is the second malignancy, sometimes this is the primary malignancy with the recurrence. So again, if you know that this is not the first time the patient is having the malignancy, the patient is having the second time the malignancy, or the patient is with the recurrent tumor. So because then again they need more support, because most of that time the family members, they are exhausted by giving the care. So your touch in the form of just few words, that gives them lot of psychological support. So that is like, if you know that your touch in the form of giving just few words, that gives them lot of support. Again, sometimes they share their problems while you will be giving them the physiotherapy tips. Again, the cancer diagnosis, as I told you, so many physiotherapy things they are required, and this the knowing about the cancer site, this will support them. So all the healthcare workers, though this be from dental college, though this be from physiotherapy college, though this be the nursing college, or the all the supporting staff like the attendants, all of them, they play a very important role in giving the support specifically from my department patients. Thank you all of you for patient listening. I hope all of you have understood something about the cancer. In next 3 lectures, the physiotherapy which is required for various cancers, this will be taken by other faculties in the department. Thank you once again.